Oh, there you go. All right. Welcome, everybody, for another episode of Cricket Wana. Today, we have a special guest. She is the current USA women's cricket team captain. She's from our Namma Karnataka. She's currently settled in the San Francisco Bay Area in California. Her name is Sindhu Sriharsha. Welcome, Sindhu.
Welcome, Sindhu.
Thank you so much, Kashyap.
And we have the usual panelists, Somu and Vinay and myself, Kashyap. And first of all, welcome, Sindhu, for the panel. We have talked to Sindhu before, sometime around this time last year, for Navika Kannada conference. We spoke to her and also Shanta Rangaswamy, the first ever Indian captain. That was a wonderful conversation as well. Thank you, Sridhar, for setting this platform for the last couple of years as part of Hoysala Balavana. This is Cricket Wana. We managed to talk on various topics about cricket and ongoing games or series or tournaments, and of course some of the spicier and controversial topics and whatever it is, everything about cricket. We are all quite excited and passionate about the game, and we try to manage to bring in special guests like this time, but also we continue to talk about anything and everything about cricket. Try to do it every week. So myself, Narayan Kashyap, I'm in Southern California. I'm an official USA cricket umpire and have been watching and following the game for as long as I can remember. And I let Sindhu first introduce herself, and then Soma and Vinay can jump in as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kashyap and Soman and Vinay. Nice to come back together last year. I definitely enjoyed the panel that we had. It was a very good conversation with all of you all, and thank you so much for inviting me back. And introduction about myself, I think Kashyap covered most of it. Yes, I'm born and brought up in Bangalore, moved to US in 2013. I've been here since past almost 9 years now, 9 to 10 years. And I represent the USA national teams since 2017. So close to about 5-6 years now. Yeah.
Somu?
My name is Somu, and I've been in Southern California for about 34 years, I'm sorry. So came to New York before, and I came to Southern California after that. Played quite a bit of cricket back in India and Bangalore especially. My junior state and university and Pentangular, and a lot of cricket back, cricket league. I played for Vijaya Bank, played for Bangalore University, and so on and so forth. It's not about me, but I just know a little bit of cricket. And I'm settled in, as I said, in Southern California, passionate about cricket. Have gone to South Africa, Barbados, England to watch World Cup cricket, and I still watch a lot of cricket back in England. And I and Vinay, my son, we watched it last September. We went and watched India-England at Oval, and we have seen World Cup cricket together as well. And we welcome Sindhu, and we love to have a conversation with her and learn about women's cricket a lot more, and especially the Dubai tournament she went very recently. And welcome, Sindhu. Thank you for giving us your precious time to talk about it. And Hoysala Balavana will be ever grateful to you for participating in the last year's Navika conference that we interviewed you and Shanta Rangaswamy, and also participating in it today, and give us a little bit of more clarity and more information about women's cricket in general, and specifically Dubai cricket.
All right, Vinay.
Yeah, just a little quickly about myself. My name is Vinay, and I'm Somu's son. Born and raised here in the U.S., but also been a fan of cricket since as far as I can remember. Played a little bit in university. I went to UC Irvine, and played for their team for the years that I went to school there. And still kind of play here for fun, but honestly, it's more just a fan now, and watch as much as I can and travel around the world to watch matches. So yeah, welcome Sindhu, and happy to have you, and I looking forward to the conversation.
All right. So the main reason I wanted to talk to bring back Sindhu to our panel was the moment I heard the news about this Fairbreak Invitational 2020 tournament that was held in Dubai. I'm assuming it's going to be an annual event or so. Yeah, and this was the first one. I recently started following Fairbreak. Actually, they've been doing great. I mean, following in Twitter, of course, and they've been doing some amazing work on women's sports, and including cricket, of course. And so when I saw that, and I saw Sindhu will be leading one of the 6 teams. So these 6 teams were formed out of all the women cricketers around the world. Of course, in BCCI did not allow the Indian women to participate for many reasons, but then there were who's who of women's cricket were in there, and so seeing Sindhu captaining one of the teams, Warriors, right? So I was very excited and was waiting to hear from her coming back and get some first-hand experience from her, like IPL, BBL style tournament, with Deandra Dottins of the world, and the Daniel Wyatt. I let Sindhu speak about it. What's her initial, the first experience was that. So over to you, Sindhu. How was Fairbreak in Dubai?
Well, it was almost kind of a dream come true, if I should say. There was representations from 35 or 36 countries.
Wow.
To give you a little bit of background of who Fairbreak is and what they've done. They've been around for a lot of years now. But they were, I think, in 2012, if I'm right, that's when it was formed. A Fairbreak, it's a non-profit organization which basically started giving opportunities to women all over the world and equal opportunities in sports itself. Formed by Sean Martin from Australia. Alex Blackwell, if you guys have heard of Alex Blackwell, former Australian player.
Correct.
She, along with Sean, that this is kind of their baby. So they formed this Fairbreak to provide opportunities to countries, or not the full member nations, the associate player nations, to give them enough opportunities and kind of explore them, or give them the exposure to what it is to be kind of a full contracted players. So I actually represented Fairbreak in 2020, right before the whole COVID. They had a tournament in Australia. So there were 2 of us from USA selected for that, myself and also Geetika Kodali, who was also part of Fairbreak Invitational T20 tournament in Dubai. So that was my first introduction to Fairbreak itself. So I went there to Australia, played with this team, which was formed from different associate playing nations, the best of the players from the associate nations. And we played in Australia, in Sydney, in the best of the facilities available against Alex Blackwell and some of the Big Bash players itself. So that was my introduction to first time to Fairbreak. And I met Sean for the first time there, who is kind of the father of this entire Fairbreak invitation tournament. He talked to me about this dream of this particular tournament in 2020. And I'm not kidding about this, but he spoke to everybody about this 10 years back. And even when he told me about this tournament in 2020, and he said, I'm going to do this tournament where who's who of cricket is going to be playing, and it's going to be six teams in one venue in 15 days. We'll have this tournament.
Yeah.
And I almost questioned it. I was like, who's this guy? I mean, first thing, first I was meeting him, it's talking to me about something that's never happened before in women's cricket, and who would be willing to actually invest money for something like this. And how would the players contracted full playing nations like Heather Knight, Susie Bates, or even Deandra Doughton, like you mentioned, Hayley Matthews, Mignon Dupreez, why are they going to come play with us? So I just kind of questioned the whole thing. And I know he contacted me in 2021 in October. and he sent me a contract and said,
Wow.
"Since I want you to lead one team, and this is coming true."
Nice.
And I called him back and I was like, "Is this for real?" And he was like, "Yes, and this tournament is happening." And none of us kind of believed him when he's been talking about this for 5-6 years, but he made this come true, this dream of him wanting to do this tournament, to provide this opportunity to all of us who could only have dreamt of, to even kind of walk on the field where we have somebody like Susie Bates batting, or even Stephanie Taylor, like walk into a toss with Stephanie Taylor. Imagine I was walking into toss with Heather Knight.
I know.
It's kind of like dream. I couldn't have even dreamt about it. I mean, even to be part of this tournament, I would have taken it, but icing on the cake was obviously leading one of the teams. And when this happened, and that's actually my first contract. That's the first contract I've ever got in 20 years of my career. It's away my age, I guess, but yeah, in 20 years of my career, this is my first contract with Fairbrick.
Nice. Speaking of Heather Knight, I must inform everybody that Sindhu's team Warriors, they beat Heather Knight's Barmy Army. I think the experience was great. I mean, that was the only win for this team. But I mean, of course, I mean, I remember watching the press conference as well after the win, where finally there were some smiles, and the people were asking you about that smile. And great game. I actually watched quite a few games as well. I followed it quite a bit. So yeah, congratulations on that. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I mean, it was not more about the win. I think even when the teams were selected, and even when we got together over there as captains, or even as coaches and as a team, when we got together, the whole purpose of the tournament was to be able to give opportunities to people and actually show them what it is to play in that level. Even though it was not up to the level of international cricket, but you're still kind of, it is much, much, much higher than what we actually play around over here in any of our ICC global qualifiers. So it was about just kind of exposing us to, and also taking this this experience back into our home country and try and building on that but experience itself. So that conversations was already, we had had even before the tournament had started. And actually, there was also a rule that only 6 full member players could play in a game. So everybody else had to be paid.
Oh, wonderful.
So it was not really that, if you had 10 full member team associate players, that you could use all of them. So the whole purpose was to just, use 6 of them. And it was also supposed to be a substantial number of players playing, because the whole purpose for us to actually rub shoulders with them. It was not about just having 1 or 2 of them, which wouldn't have got the enough experience like it would have been with having 6 or 7 of them. Right. Now, what happens when I'm walking into bat? I'm actually batting with Georgia Redmayne, who is an Australian cricketer, and I'm batting with Mignon Dupreez. I'm batting with Hayley Matthews. But that is the exposure that he wanted to give. That was the whole picture of having that exposure to having bat with somebody else, like somebody like Tirtha Satish, where she's actually at 20, not even 20, she's an 18-year-old UAE player. Wow. She was opening the batting with Susie Bates for all 6 games.
Wow.
She's 18 years old.
Look at that.
And again, another UAE player, Kavisha, maybe, and she was opened all 6 games with Deontay Doughton. So it was all about exposing all of us. And to tell you that, frankly, I think the only thing that separates us from the associate playing nations to even full member team is actually the exposure and the experience. Yeah. Skill-wise, we're all the same. It's, you hit the ball, it's a cover drive, it's a cover drive or a cut or a pull or a sweep. It's skill, it's the same. It's not going to change. It's the same thing. Yeah. Everybody have those shots, but when to play the shots and how to, innovate, and when to innovate, to be able to read the situation. Those are the things, those fine tuning that we actually lack because we don't get as much exposure to that.
Correct.
I think that was a big change itself. Every game after game, I could see my batting itself like change. And people were messaging me like, you look so different. I was like, I've not done anything different than what I do in USA. It's just that the people who I'm playing with make me look better because they're able to take the singles that I want them to take. They're ready for me and they're telling me to play the shot because there's an availability over there. So this kind of opening myself and they're just telling me this is what you can do. Which over here, I'm actually trying to open you guys up because I am the senior here. I'm trying to open you all up, but I don't get the same thing over here. So when I go over there, I look different only because they're making me look different or making me look better. So it was amazing.
That's a great thing to say. I mean,
I just have one quick question. I mean, obviously, those players, you're talking about Heather Knight and Susie Bates and everybody else. And obviously, the 6 of them are there. That includes you. And the level of, again, I'm sure everybody is talented as everybody else. Obviously, exposure to them makes them a little bit better cricketer than the people who has not. Do you see a significant difference from those Heather Knights of the industry to others who haven't played that much cricket? The talent pool is similar, same, better. Where do you put them all in?
Well, I would say there's still like a few, if you put us in the stories, they're probably in the 100th floor and we are still about climbing the stores and we're probably in like 20th or 30th, I would say. They're already in the 100, 120. We're trying to catch that up in terms of even talent itself. And some of the shots that they play, even like the reverse sweep or the sweep, they just bring that on like from the first ball itself. So I think, and also, let me tell you, they're also playing this 365 days and they're actually paid to play this game. Whereas all of us, all associate playing nations, we are not a full-time professional athletes. We have other careers. We're trying to do the best we can in the allotted time that's given to us. We probably play 20 games, I'm just giving a number, 20 games in a year, but they are playing hundreds of games in a year.
Hundreds of games,
Yes, we have a lot of catching up to do, but the tournaments like this is what exposes us and it actually fast tracks us to be able to reach that point. The point is not to show us that what's the difference. The point is kind of to fast track us to be able to be competing with them, where we are able to increase the number of World Cup participants from 8 to 10 to 12 to 20. So the thought process is over that. And this is kind of the foundation. You cannot just put 16 members in the World Cup and ask them to be able to be prepared to compete if you don't give them the right exposure and the right platform. So this is the platform to show us that this is what you got to be able to be in that World Cup. So I think that's where I would say it's a good platform. And eventually in a couple of years or even more, I think more and more people would want to be involved in this. And also hopefully India also looks into this and come.
Yes, I was about to get to that. So two things about in this one and India. There are two-part question I want to ask you. One, if you know anything more about the absence of India, as well as the possible presence of Indian women in the future tournaments, plus considering that IPL for women is going to start next year, how are the opportunities for the USA cricket women, including you and your team members, to go over there as well? I mean, is there any talks on that?
Well, first of all, I think Indians were supposed to be part of this fabric. It was Harmanpreet Kaur, Deepthi Sharma were the two announced who were already signed up to come. But it just so happened because of pandemic, this tournament kept kind of changing the dates a couple of times, and at the same time kind of conflict with the domestic structure with India as well. So that was the reason why they couldn't make it. Otherwise they were contracted to come, but it just so happened that it kind of clashed and conflict with their domestic structure. But I do know that they were very much interested to be part of it. For IPL, it's very new. I mean, if there is an opportunity for USA to be part of it, even one of them or two of them for the exposure, I think it would be great. But like I said, there are India itself has so many players. I'm sure, even if they start off with the six teams, I still think there will be a lot of them who's going to miss out, because I think India has a lot of talent as it is. But there is CPL, women's CPL, that's going to happen next month. And we are definitely hoping that a couple of them, or even a few of them, can go there as an exposure to just be able to be part of that CPL tournament. Yeah,
I'm intrigued why you are saying few of them and not few of us.
Well, that's a good question. Well, as you know, under 19, we have been qualified for the under 19 World Cup. USA is going to be part of the first ever girls under 19 World Cup that's going to take place in South Africa in January 2023. Correct. So we have a qualification just on basis that we are the only under 19 team available in the Americas region. We qualified for that World Cup. So it's going to be the first time ever USA is going to take part, women or girls, in a World Cup. So just based on that, it is 6 months away. So the girls are extremely working hard. The under 19 girls currently are playing in the West Indies domestic tournament, under 19 tournament. They are in Trinidad and Tobago, now they have a game tomorrow. They've already played 2 games against Windward Island and Jamaica, and they've won both of them.
Oh, good.
So just in the preparation part of it, they are playing a World Cup in 6 months. I would hope that the exposure would be more for the youngsters, and I'm also one of them who are very much in for, or what I would say, that I personally train all of these under 19 girls. So I know that. So I'd be more than happy for them to be the ones to go out there and perform and get that exposure. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. Thank you. So on the from the experience that you talked about, Fair Break, where of course some of you had that exposure with the who's who of women's cricket, and how do you think you can bring that experience back to US and help your team going forward?
So some of the conversations that I've actually had with the teams, with the players themselves, is trying to understand how their domestic structure has been built around. I mean, the tournament was just 15 days, 2 weeks tournament. We played 6 games together. There's so much that you can learn from each other on the game itself. But for me, it was about trying to understand what their domestic structure is built like, what do they do on a daily basis, or what kind of games do they play. So those are the conversations that I had, and very good conversations with Haley Matthews, Mignon Dupreez, or even Georgia Redmayne. And just by talking on all of those, I just realized that Australia and England are probably the only 2 countries which have the best domestic structure in place, and that probably shows where they are today in the country, or in the entire world, where they are. Like huge gap, because just based on the conversation, I understood that Australia is they pay them contracts for even state cricketers to play through the entire year. And they are contracted, and they go and settle down in different states based on their contracts. And it's a full-time job, right?
Wow, that's a full-time job then. Huh?
It's a full-time job, and that's all they do. And some of them are like, Georgia Redmayne has a degree. She's studied medicine. But still is doing, she's contracted to play professional cricket. And she says that, yes, cricket comes first but she does have a backup plan. But I'm just trying to say that just trying to understand what their structure itself is like was for me was like, mind-boggling and like opening my mind so much. And to think about how the structure is in South Africa, or we're not too far away from that. I would say we definitely have a good domestic structures, that especially starting last week. Last year, I think we had these conversations during our panel. That was our first domestic pathway that was started last year.
Yeah.
And in fact, South Africa or even South Africa do not have a domestic structure as structured as us either. So it's kind of like, trying to understand where every country is, but they've had the exposure over the years to competing, and that's why they're able to put in a team out there and still perform. But just having those conversations. And again, coming back over here, personally, what I have gained was definitely working very closely with Mignon. When I say Mignon du Preez, she's the former South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, she's played 150 ODI games.
Wow, I think so. Yeah,
150 ODI games for South Africa. And her and my game are very similar. She's also more of a player who plays time more than playing the runs, I should say. She's more of a player who stays around for 20 or 50 overs and guides the team along. And over the years, she's transformed her game into a T20 player. She's now today one of the best T20 batters and contracted to play in WBBL. So kind of understanding how she transformed her game from being a grafter, which is mostly trying to, be through the innings, then, to now be known as one of the power hitters. So kind of, and she's also a very small maid like me. So just trying to understand and play with her. And the tips that she gave me about using the crease or just kind of those fine tuning, those, giving me how I can play the team or play the fielders, playing in their minds of the bowlers. So those conversations I've had already has made a huge difference in the way I've been batting now, I should say. And also I've got that back into the team and I've told them to be able to express themselves. I mean, what's the point of, working so hard and going out there on the field and then fearing of failure?
Yes.
No, of course not. Yeah.
It's always there in the back of your mind. Whereas as athletes, we are nervous. We do have those, thoughts, but whether you have it or not, it's a one ball game. So you just might as well enjoy that one ball game. You get on the first ball, just back yourself that you did the best that you could do for that one ball.
That one ball, yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of those kind of perspectives, trying understanding those things. I think, that's what you learn when you play with these players, because they've gone through so much highs and lows. They can give you all of this and tell you that, it's not always the lows. You are going to go up, but you definitely will see the lows too. Yeah. So kind of understanding those. Yeah.
Is there any other men cricketers that they come and not necessarily train you, but give you some advice during these games? Was there anybody that you can mention that they gave you some tips? Because they have played some better cricket over the years. And did you see anybody coming and helping you guys out?
Over here in the US right now? Or?
No, I'm not talking about Dubai because the Dubai, Australian guy is the one who did this, and obviously he would have recruited a few more Australians or wherever they are from to kind of give you some pep talk and kind of give you some advice and whatever. Was there anybody at all?
Shoaib Malik showed up actually for one of the games. He was Shoaib Malik.
Shoaib Malik,
Shoaib Malik.
Very good.
He was there. He watched a couple of games, stayed there for the whole day, met all of the girls, had a good conversation with all of us. So, and it was pretty good. I think we were already so overwhelmed with the kind of players, our roster we had with the women cricketers itself. And I don't think we were really looking forward to, any of the men cricketers, because for us, having those big players from Australia, England, South Africa itself, like Laura Woolworth, playing with her, Maizan Cap, and, Shabnam Ismail was bowling to me. And, I was like, whoa, like I wouldn't have, dreamt about an ICC #1 bowler bowling at me, or even Diana Baig from Pakistan, Fatima Sana, Dayata Doughton. So Sophia Kiston, like, how many names? So Sophia Dunkley, and all of this, we were so overwhelmed, and we had so much at our disposal that we could just go and talk to anybody. And that was what this tournament was so good about, is it was just an open book, and they all came with an open mind, wanting to share their experiences, wanting to grow the game. It was not for them, it was not about showing what they could do. It was more for them to show us what we could do if we were just explored, or we were just kind of, given that open field and asked us to do whatever we wanted to do. So that was what made this tournament more successful, is about them coming over there and telling us, we are here backing you up, go do what you want to do, have that, we will totally back you. Yeah.
Wow,
So
really?
will this be an annual tournament? And if so, where it's going to be each year? Is it Dubai or anywhere else? Or what are the times?
It's already announced for next year. It's going to be in Hong Kong, March 15th to 26th, or it's in March. The dates are out. It's going to be in Hong Kong. It was always supposed to be in Hong Kong, even during this first edition as well, because this is actually Sean working with Hong Kong Cricket Association. So it is in conjunction with them. It was just that Hong Kong had a restriction of 14 days of quarantine when you enter the country, so we had to move it to Dubai. So it's always supposed to be in Hong Kong from the beginning. So we're going back to Hong Kong in March. Yeah.
So will it be Hong Kong every year from now, or that's the plan?
So Sean does have, as I've already explained, he's a dreamer. So for him, he wants to make this not just annually, but twice a year.
Wow.
So, eventually it will get there, but of course, he would have to play with the calendars of the ICC tournaments as well. So keeping that in mind, he definitely wants to have twice a year, where once he's traveling around the world, and the one would be in Hong Kong. So that's his dream, eventually, where he can do it twice, and once in countries like maybe even coming into USA and having one, and just kind of trying to go to different countries and making use of the market and exploring the country itself. Yeah.
Awesome. So before I let Vinay ask you and change the topic here, just wanted to see if you have any other final remarks on the Fairbreak tournament before we move on to another topic.
No, I think I've covered a lot.
I know.
Sometimes if I start talking about cricket, this can go on for hours. So you guys have to stop me when it comes to cricket. So
welcome to the club.
Yeah.
I think the common theme here, like the reason why we brought up the Fairbreak tournament and everything, is honestly, it's just a big joy to hear so much about the development of women's cricket, and especially here in the US. So another piece of news that came out just, I think, about a month and a half ago was also the women's national team being granted ODI status with immediate effect. And so I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. Obviously, maybe you had known a little bit before, or, I don't know what all the preparation and planning was to make this happen and what went into it. Would love if you can share a little bit about that, or if it was just kind of you woke up one morning and it was a big surprise. And, and more importantly, I think just, back to the topic of just development, obviously this is big news, and I would love if you can kind of expand on just what this means for the girls, and, more tactically, how is this? We all know that it's going to help develop women's cricket, but how do you see this kind of helping, and how big of a step is this?
Yeah, sure. Well, ICC actually made this rule that any countries which makes it to the global qualifiers they would be awarded the ODI status. So when we actually played the 50-over global qualifiers last year in Zimbabwe in November 2021, just last year, we were there for the global qualifiers because men's cricket have this rule that any team that makes it to the ICC global qualifiers are automatically qualified or given the ODI status. So honestly, if you ask me, we should have got this then, because we actually played 4 ODIs, for which some of us which some of us were like our first ODI, we were ODI capped, but it's just that we were not given then. And as you may know, that the tournament was called off because of the Omicron, the variant. So we had to be kind of airlifted from Zimbabwe, because that's where it started off, and the whole variant started off in, like, we saw it happen right in front of us. So the tournament was called off. And it so happened that because Bangladesh and West Indies were higher ranked teams in that tournament, and they were the only ones with ODI status as well. They qualified for the World Cup.
Commiserations to Thailand. I know Thailand was...
I know. Thailand were unbeaten in the tournament until then. So they still had a couple, but they were clear shot. I would say it was kind of unfair to them, but if the tournament had completed, they would have definitely been one of the finalists. And then two of them qualifying. So they would have qualified for the World Cup, if not for the tournament being called off. Yes. So if you ask me, it was kind of probably should have happened back then than what it is now. So when the news actually broke up for us, but for us, for USA cricket, it's still huge. But for some of the countries like Thailand, it still feels like it should have happened much sooner. Yeah. But on our perspective, I think this is probably a win for many other pioneers who have been in this country for many years and wanting this to happen. Some of them have played in 2011 50 overs qualifiers that happened in Bangladesh, and they could never get capped, but they played the 50 overs global qualifiers. And for them to see 10 years later to be given this ODI status is for them probably a win. I mean, as much as it's a bitter, way to say, but I would say it's a long time coming. Definitely, it increases our development chances where we could have more bilateral series where other countries would want to play us and also build on their scoring, on their points, or even for us to be able to build those points to be able to build up those points to play for World Cup championships. And so it's a beginning, I would say, but our 50 over game is still, I would say, a few years behind. Even today in our domestic structure, we do focus a lot on T20 than 50 overs in ODIs.
Yeah, congratulations again on the qualification. And I was following that tournament last year, and I was just when I was getting excited about Thailand, this happened, and I still remember, the tears in Thailand players when it got called off, and it was unfair, but a lot of things have happened during
since
COVID.
2020 we can't.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of things have happened.
I know. Yeah. Great. So the next one was the very recent news. The most recent news on the women's cricket I wanted to touch upon was Shivnarine Chanderpaul as the new coach. Any past interactions with him? You know anything about, or how and of course, being a captain. Was there any consultation with you on any of this matter, or and how did the previous coach, transition?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, we first have to definitely recognize what Julia Price has done to us for the past 3 years. She came to us in 2019 when there was nothing, when there was no ICC tournaments happening for women. That was the first ever, after 5 years of ban, that we were playing in 2019 in Americas with Canada. So that was her first interaction with USA cricket and having to play with us who had not played any cricket for any ICC tournaments for 5-6 years. So she actually built up this team to be able to be who we are. We have to definitely give her a lot of credit. She made us realize that we could still be professionals, not, even though we're not really professionals, not contracted, but how we could still be professional athletes in our minds, and how we could prepare. And she actually built the domestic structure along with the help of USA cricket, of course, backing up the USA cricket. But she saw a lot of, she envisioned, or she was the one who was dreaming about what USA cricket, women cricket should look like. And she built the whole under-19 girls team now that is ready to go play a World Cup. So a lot of things that Julia Price did, even for me personally, to be able to lead this team the way I've led today, I give a lot of credit to her, because she gave us that, she empowered us to be who we are today. So having that as kind of, the sketch for somebody like Chandrapal to come and take over now, I can only smile about what he can do. I can only think about how he's going to change the whole women's cricket and take us to the next level. As much as we are disappointed that Julia Price cannot be around, but I think it's also a very welcomed news for us that, to have Chandrapal come, and somebody of Chandrapal's, stature, he's played 444 games for his country. This is along with all of the test cricket that he's played, and with the ODIs and everything that he's played. He's been in the US for a few years now, a couple of interactions with him. He's in Florida, Orlando. We've met him a couple of times, and he's seen us as well. So I'm actually very excited to be working with him. Looking forward to working with him in the coming couple of months when we go out to global qualifiers in Dubai again. This is for the T20 global qualifiers. So I'm actually very excited to be working with him. A little bit of I've already got to know of him is he means business, and he knows what he's doing. He definitely will bring about a change that I think we need at this point of our USA cricket development in women's cricket. We definitely need this change, and I think all of us welcome it.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean,
you can comment on this. Obviously, Julia did a great job, as you said, and maybe is it for you all, it was better that Julia did the first 3, 4, whatever the number of years, and Chandrapal to take over, because he can probably make you guys that much better because of his background experience and everything else. If he came in the beginning, probably he would have been a little bit, the level of cricket was a little lower than now what it was 3, 4 years ago. He would make it probably even a lot more better, and he's able to bring out the best in you more so now than 3 years ago. Is it something that you think it's accurate?
I think it's kind of debatable. If I think about it, Julia Price was the right coach for us at that time, like you said. Yes. She is actually known for this, going into associate nations and building them. She was part of Ireland coaching staff, Netherlands coaching staff. So she has been around with associate playing nations for a few years. Also being in Australia structure, building for Tasmania state, for a number of years, Hobart Hurricanes, WBBL. So she has been known for building the teams and making these structures and getting these structures into the game. It just so happened that the USA changed the terms that they needed a coach who is residing in the US, which definitely makes sense, because it definitely does make sense now that we are actually moving into the next phase, like you say. The first phase was more about building the roots, but I think
that's what I meant.
At the time we're kind of one level trying to go to the level higher. So I think the structure and also the way USA Cricket was thinking about is a little different to what Julia Price at this time couldn't probably move to the US and reside over here. And it kind of opened up the doors for us to look for somebody who's living and residing in the US itself, and who could offer a little bit more than what it was with Julia Price.
Julia Price did a good job as a Hobart Hurricanes coach as well in women's BBL, but she also became the first female staff in the men's BBL when she became the assistant coach of Brisbane Heat.
Right. I remember that now.
So and good luck to the team and you with for a fantastic journey together with Shivnar and Chandrapal. We all know how gritty and what
a great player he was.
He was, and I'm sure he'll bring in the same solidity and a different perspective to your team to take it to the next level, just like you said. So what next for your team now? What's the first assignment with Chandrapal?
He's already with the team with the under-19 group in Trinidad and Tobago with them. And actually tomorrow is our West Zone intra-regionals. We're starting our intra-regionals starting tomorrow. And then in a couple of weeks, we go to our regionals and national tournament in Houston in Texas in July 24th, I believe, till August 3rd is our nationals and regionals, which Chandrapal is going to be there and see through all of those. And then we are going to be in Dubai for 3 weeks assignment playing the global qualifiers, T20 global qualifiers. So this is the qualifiers for the World Cup, T20 World Cup in South Africa 2023.
Yeah.
In February.
Yeah. So the tournament in the minor league tournament that's in its second season, and I think Major League got postponed to next year. Do you know if there's women's edition as well coming up, or?
There has been a few conversations about trying to have maybe kind of an invitational tournament, just like how IPL has about 3 teams, and to make that happen. There have been initial conversations about that, but I don't see that happening this year. Of course, one of the main reason is because of the timing as well. They play in July, August, and September now, and that's kind of the prime time when we are playing our global qualifiers as well. And under-19s are also playing a series against West Indies as well. So it's kind of like I'd say it should happen very soon, just like we've been hoping for. But the conversations have started. I can give you that much. Yes, the conversations have started. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that covers pretty much everything we wanted to talk about women's cricket with Sindhu. And so,
Sindhu, I have one last question. Last question. Sindhu, a professional cricketer, Sindhu, a professional in her own rights as a profession, not cricket I'm talking about. Sindhu as a mother, Sindhu as her wife, Sindhu as a daughter. How does she manage all the 5 things, which is equally challenging? And just give us a little bit of a thought on all the 5 things that you do. And I'm sure you're doing equally well on all these 3 things, which we know that. So give us a little bit of a glimpse of that.
Yes.
That's a very difficult question, but I think something that I always say when somebody asks me this question is I can't do this all by myself.
Correct.
There are times, like you said, Sindhu as a mother is absent. So Sriharsha, Cherry, my husband is the mother and father taking care of the house, and also my son. So he plays a primary parent. My mom stays here at least 3 or 4 months during my season to take care of us. I not just take care of my son, take care of us all.
Us, yeah, okay.
And work is something only I can do. So my professional work, I work at West Monroe as a manager, customer solutions manager. That is something only I can do. But of course, I get a lot of backing from all of the companies that I've worked for so far. They do back me up, just be ready to give me the number of days I need off, or when I'm going to go away for 3 or 4 weeks, somebody's always there. And I've never had issue with any of the companies I've worked so far. Sindhu as a cricketer is probably the easiest of all. As much as it's been I should say it's in my blood now, but it does take a lot of my commitment, because I also do lead this team. And over the years now, I've become so passionate about leading itself that my game has taken, I should say, is like second priority or third priority. But because I've become so passionate about leading this team and getting this team to the next level, how can I do that? So that is, for me, so prominent when I see these under-19 girls playing in this Trinidad and Tobago. I'm watching ball by ball every day morning, and it's just like, it's kind of a dream come true. So for me, I would say I can't do any of these 5 things all by myself. So I have a perfect support system at home with my
Beautiful.
husband and my mom. And for my mom to come over here and spend 3 or 4 months and then go back to my brother and stay in India. So I think not my win, it's all them. I can be who I am only because of who I have.
Hey, two things you have to do it by yourself. One, on the field. One, the real professional that you have. So
Yeah.
at least you take credit for 2 of them, if not all 5 of them anyway. So
Yeah,
congratulations, Sindhu. You know what? It's phenomenal. And thank you very much for participating in this. And I know you're going to, go to the greater heights, and we wish you well. And we'll be following you. And any last comments from my 2 colleagues will be welcome.
Yeah, I think Sindhu, like hearing about like how many balls you juggle, all at one time, it's definitely really inspirational. But I think what brings even more joy is seeing somebody do that, but also kind of be rewarded for it, And I think since our last conversation last year, I think so much has happened with USA women's cricket, and I think it's just so well deserved, and we're just so overjoyed and excited for you guys, and we really hope the good news continues coming, and US women's cricket continues to develop, and hopefully we can maybe we're the good luck charm, I don't know, but hopefully it keeps continuing, and we can keep having conversations like this into the future. So I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all of us for joining us today, and spending an hour of your time, especially with how busy you are. And you always know you have at least us 3 fans rooting for you guys. And until next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, ditto. Vinay stole my words. So, thank you very much, Sindhu, for accepting my offer, and also joining us. And it was a great conversation to go over it. And I'm quite passionate and closely following USA cricket, both men's and women's. So happy.
We'll give you a break for a few more months, and we'll drag you back here at some point.
Yes.
You guys are my number 1 fan, and I know. Kashyap and Vinay keep texting me as well with any news of USA cricket. They're the first ones to message me and congratulate me. And
good. I'm happy.
Number 1 fan. I love coming and talking with you all, and thank you for inviting me again. And hopefully, like when I said, you guys are the lucky charm, and the next time we talk, we'll probably be talking about us playing in the World Cup.
Beautiful.
Looking forward to that. Thank you so much.
Probably will get you as soon as you make that the World Cup team, and we'll get you back here anyway.
Definitely.
Thank you, Sindhu.
Thank you.
Appreciate
so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.
Bye.